She is not going to see, being the second most powerful person in the world, he doesn't see the governor of California who's just popped into, he went with something. And then he brought Xi back to California, not to the United Nations, not to DC, not to anything else. He brought them to California. The US is building 2, 3 TSMC plants. The world does not function without Taiwan Semi. All of the AI future, everything we understand, every computer, every phone, nothing functions without these guys. They're the most strategically important company in the world.
Raoul Pal, founder and CEO of Real Vision, has long promoted the banana zone concept. Pal coined this hilarious name to characterize financial charts with enormous price movements and unpredictability, especially for cryptocurrency. Pal uses the expression to describe bananas, or chaotic markets, which are opportune times to buy. Pal says we're almost ready for the banana zone. He claims most of the issues preventing a market rise have been resolved. However, the confusion around the US election and the necessity for central banks to fully relax money supply must be considered. The US election is causing market instability and uncertainty. Bitcoin ETFs lost $580 million on Monday, according to Biano Research. The second largest single-day loss ever. ARKB lost $138 million. GBTC and BB from Grayscale and Bitwise lost $89.05 million and $79.08 million, respectively. The only spot Bitcoin ETF, BlackRock's IBIT, raised $38.04 million against the trend. Famous people like Pal are optimistic about the stock's decline because they anticipate it will soon end. He expects the market to soar and investors to rush in. This might trigger the banana zone before central banks print more money. Pal has also discussed his larger views on cryptocurrencies and the global economy, concentrating on opportunities.
And then I was running a large hedge fund in London, and then decided to opt out of the rat race, moved to the Mediterranean coast of Spain, and started writing Global Macro Investor, my research service that I still have today. It was over that period that the financial crisis had come and the European crisis. And I saw them coming. I made money out of it. I advised a lot of the famous people in the film The Big Short that was all about this. We were at the epicenter of the system, and we knew what was happening. And friends of mine, I tried to warn them, and they didn't understand. And then friends of friends and friends of my parents came to me and said, why didn't we know? People got wiped out. You know, don't forget, we almost lost our banking system in Spain. People had their deposits taken, you know, everyone with the housing crisis. This was a really bad thing. And it sat with me uncomfortably for a while is, I should do something about this. And people had lost faith in institutions. And it was in that journey, I went on a journey to try and set up the world's safest bank. And that's when I discovered Bitcoin in 2012. And then, so I started investing in 2013. But really the story was, how the hell do I help as many people as possible? And it was to give them the information that they need to navigate this kind of uncertain financial future and give them the opportunities that they need in a kind of unbiased way. And we thought the best thing to do is just bring all these famous hedge fund managers and everybody. What captures people's attention is fear. What the outcome is the opposite. 99%, well, 3% of the time over the last 100 years, let's say the US has been in recession. 3%. Yet people anchor on the fears. So they anchor on, through my whole life, it's like, well, Russia's going to send nukes, or this is going to happen. None of these things generally happen. So what I've learned is actually to be an optimist through these things. My particular view on most of the things happening right now is that I actually believe, contrary to almost everybody else's opinion, that the US and China and Europe have agreed what to do with Taiwan, and that's to give it back. Give it back is not theirs to give, but to allow China to do it. I think that Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, going to Beijing randomly. He's a non-geopolitical character. He turns up in Beijing. What he should see is the government of one of the regions. He sees Xi. Xi is not going to see, being the second most powerful person in the world, he doesn't see the governor of California who's just popped into... He went with something. And then he brought Xi back to California, not to the United Nations, not to DC, not to anything else. He brought him to California. The US is building 3 TSMC plants. The world does not function without Taiwan Semi. All of the AI future, everything we understand, every computer, every phone, nothing functions without these guys. They're the most strategically important company in the world. The US is building 3 plants. Germany 1, Japan 1. They're all done in about 3 years. China, nobody can go to war with Taiwan because we will lose the semiconductor manufacturing. Those foundries are foundational to the future of the world. Everybody knows it. So the only answer, because everybody loses in that case, is a
Raoul
compromise.
Pal believes long-term economic and technological trends will value the Bitcoin business at $100 a trillion. Metcalfe's law states that a network's worth equals its users squared. He discusses network effects, which increase a network's worth exponentially as more people join. Pal claims that this concept positions crypto assets for unprecedented growth as more people, corporations, and financial institutions adopt them. Pal typically blames low interest rates and global central bank quantitative easing, QE, for market wealth. Since normal investment returns are falling, he expects more of this money to flow into digital assets. Crypto offers variety and enormous gains. Therefore, investors are flocking to it. He believes crypto is the most crucial aspect of a digital revolution that will impact money and control more than the internet explosion. Pal believes that decentralized finance, DeFi, non-fungible tokens, NFTs, and Web3 are laying the groundwork for a new financial and economic system that will transform money transfers and storage. He believes this development would exponentially boost the crypto sector to $100 trillion. Pal tells Savage how shoppers can use this opportunity to improve things. He discusses these trends in detail and shows us the immense potential of this fast-changing sector.
Then we saw Xi go to Europe. So immediately goes to Europe, and the Europeans obviously have to be involved in this, and they asked one thing, which is everyone's making demand of each other. There's a lot of horse trading that needs to happen to make a mega deal, and their one thing is obviously we want Putin stopped. If you remember, Xi came straight back from Europe. The first person who went to see him was Putin. Immediately the press leaks came out of AP saying, I'm prepared to stop advancing. Somewhere within this, I think there was a big, very positive upside surprise that comes out of this. Because if you game it all out, there is literally no way that anybody's going to go to war just when we're about to bring AGI into the world. It's just not going to happen. You can't do it. And everybody knows it because everybody needs and wants that technology more than any other technology that has ever been except the nuclear bomb. They're of equal importance in terms of discoveries. So that, I think, is happening. So therefore, that neutralizes, I think, a lot of the Russian situation. The Middle East situation, I'm also more positive about that as well. Opinion for a few years now, 3 years, maybe 2 years, that Saudi, Israel, and Iran did a deal. Which is, Saudi has been very strong in, listen, we need to rebuild this region in a way that's more commercial. MBS has been a big thought leader in pushing this through. Obviously, Abu Dhabi and Dubai want this as well. And they've seen Israel as a partner, and they've been in talks a lot, and they think of it as their Silicon Valley as part of the Middle East. And they started talking to Iran on many of these issues. Now, what's been interesting is, as Israel's had the opportunity to try and rid itself of ongoing situation has been complicated for them over a long period of time, the retaliation things with Iran over Hezbollah has been super interesting because the Iranians have kind of called them up, sent a carrier pigeon, said, we might send a bomb, so if you just put up your thing, right, that's not how warfare happens. That is prearranged. Let's see what the Israeli response is. My guess it will be equally prearranged. If that is the case, then it's a signal that this whole Middle East situation, there are more people trying to clean it up in different ways. So I'm actually more positive about all of these than most people are.
The cryptocurrency and digital asset markets have changed so fast that it's easy to ignore their potential. For the first time in modern financial history, investors from industrialized, emerging, and poor nations can participate equally. Since the market is open 24/7, anyone can trade and buy. Crypto is more than just a tool to equalize access. This is a rare opportunity to protect and develop wealth when central banks weaken paper currencies. Many millions have made lasting fortune in this sector by making tiny investments at the proper moment. Printing money weakens currencies, worsening the financial system. Many weaker countries have lost all their value, and even the strongest are losing value swiftly. This issue could impact billions in the worldwide. Raoul Pal believes the future is uncertain and that staying ahead is essential to weathering debasement. Even the most stable countries lose 7–10% of their value each year, making wages insufficient. The only way to succeed is to invest in cryptocurrencies and other digital assets, the best performing asset class ever. They provide an important opportunity to avoid system failure and secure financial stability.